to our last session, panel C, where we're looking at that critical ingredient. It was mentioned a few times through the earlier sessions: talent, people. This kingdom is blessed with a very large youth population who are, to a great extent digitally savvy. And so that is very important for the toolbox of today and tomorrow. So cultivating talent, how can Saudi Arabia foster talent development to achieve its climate and environmental goals? That is the question that is already underway. So we don't need to pontificate what that might be like. What is already happening? How's it going? How can we improve it? Is the working laboratory of this question. And let's invite our panelists to open their cameras. Dr. Akhil Jamal, Chief Technologist, Carbon Management R&D at Saudi Aramco. Melda Akin, CEO and founder at D14.ai and Forbes top 10 women in tech for Middle East and North Africa. Mabruk to you, Melda. Please turn on your camera and microphone. Lydia Sanz Lozano, Masdar Future Sustainability Leader. Irina, Youth Representative, one of the young people in the region attending NYU. Anna Hudson, Head of Sustainability, Saudi Entertainment Ventures. Welcome. Please turn on your camera and your microphone. And our host of this session, Ryan Zahid, Chief Operating Officer of Microsoft Arabia. Welcome to you all. And please, camera and microphone on. Let's follow the same protocol as we've been doing in each of our sessions and the final session, and give each of our speakers, if we would, up to 2 minutes on some opening thoughts on the question: how can Saudi Arabia foster talent development? And I will start with our host, Ryan Zahid, COO of Microsoft Arabia. Ryan, please.
Yeah, thank you, Sean, and thank you all for being here, and Ramadan Mubarak to all. Listen, I think this is a very dear topic to my heart. Youth is always at the core of everything that we do for the future. So we cannot think of the future without furnishing the floor for the youth to be ready either to like cruise us there, or even like take it further after we hand it over to them to go further and like have a brighter future for them. So when we think of sustainability, although it is something like a new topic in Saudi, if I may say, like in the past 2 years, we've seen so many initiatives coming out from the government under Vision 2030, very ambitious initiatives related to sustainability. I think there is still a huge room for us to improve when it comes to preparing the youth, preparing the right talent. And here it's not just about educating them about sustainability, it's about changing the mindset, how we can build the new generation to think of sustainability in every single aspect. It's not about being an expert in sustainability. It's about having sustainability as part of their DNA when they do anything, even walking on the street, how to think of like being conservative, not to harm the trees or the lives over there and stuff like that. So it's not only about like being a sustainability educator or a sustainability guru who would go and talk about sustainability in a very scientific way and stuff like that. So I think this is what I'm hoping that we can have some sort of a discussion around it in this panel discussion, and I look forward to the discussion from all the great experts in the panel here.
Well, let's kick off with Melda Akin, CEO and founder at D14.ai and Forbes top 10 women in tech for the Middle East and North Africa. What's at stake for the future of labor? I mean, what is the critical point here in developing and fostering talent? Melda, please, your opening thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much, and pleasure meeting you all first. So, once we talk about the innovation and then the change, of course, there are a couple of pillars. One is, the environment, and the second one is education. And I do believe personally to be ready culturally and then managing the cultural differences. So whatever we do, either tech or social sciences, So we have to find the best communication methods. So I think once we look for the education level and where we are now and how we can get there, with who and what kind of resources that we're gonna use and how we're gonna make this, the four pillar to work together, I think it should be the starting point.
Let's welcome Dr. Akil Jamal, Chief Technologist, Carbon Management R&D at Saudi Aramco, of course, the most important company in the kingdom. And I think, as we've seen in recent times, per market capita, the most valuable company in the world. Dr. Akil, your opening thoughts, and I just curtain raise it with this challenge of talent, and particularly at the sharp end of the knife where you're sitting. We're seeing a recent survey done by Microsoft and BCG of major companies that only 43% of sustainability professionals had sustainability related degrees or competencies, I suppose, associated. So the challenge of talent and fostering talent development for the Pacific objective of achieving climate and environmental goals. Your opening thoughts.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting me to this panel. Really, we are living in a very, very exciting time. I wish I was 10, 15 years younger, uh, because this is these.
I don't think that's unusual, Akil. You don't need to have the sustainability challenge to wish that.
No, but I think as a technologist, I feel that the world is really completely rethinking about how we produce energy and reuse energy in our day-to-day life. And I think if you look at the kingdom itself, our push towards hydrogen, our push towards renewables requires a very different way of training our young peoples, and also different way of thinking and collaborating in bringing about the solution. So, for example, we are working on hydrogen, and hydrogen can be produced either from hydrocarbon sources or from electrolysis by using electricity. So, but are there any third ways of producing? Is there a synergy between hydrocarbon-based hydrogen and the renewable-based hydrogen? And as for our coming generation of engineers and scientists have to think about those integrated systems. Another is the renewable energy. Like, kingdom is blessed with 350 days of sun, and we can produce very cheaply, about a cent or cent and a half per kilowatt hour. But the solar is 6, 7, 8 hours a day. The wind blows when it blows. Can we have 24/7 renewable energy? So how do you store that renewable energy into in a more cost-effective way? Our young engineers have to sort of come up with the new solutions for that. Another just point very quickly I will mention: can we capture the CO2 from air? Direct, there's only 450 ppm of CO2. Can we sort of vacuum that air in a very cost-effective way, using the very cheap renewable energy in our region, and capture the CO2 and store it, or reuse that CO2 to mix with the renewable hydrogen to make the next generation fuels or synthetic fuels? So these are the things these are the challenges that our next generation are faced with, and I'm truly optimistic.
And they're really exciting challenges. And when we see some of the greatest brains in the world in Silicon Valley coming up with, this social media app and that social media app, which seems to be entertaining but somewhat useless for these big problems, if they would turn their brains on some of these big challenges, I think that would be really rewarding, and we wouldn't have Congress wasting their time talking about TikTok and such things. But let's go to Lydia Sanz Lozano, Masdar Future Sustainability Leader, IRENA Youth Representative. Because Lydia, of course, you are that one thing that was just referenced, a young person that has found their way, interest into already a big commitment to sustainability advocacy and knowledge. Could you speak to that? How foster talent development? How were you attracted? What brought you to make the step from a regular student into one who is substantially engaged?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I just want to thank Open Intelligence again for having me here. Every time that I'm on one of these panels, I know that I'm surrounded by very motivated individuals, and I know the discussions that come from there are really motivating. So I'm really excited to see what we come through today. And for me, if we had to pinpoint where it all started, I think it was when I was 17. I think as a young individual, these things about taking care of our planet and being more environmentally conscious have always been there. But it wasn't really until I started doing a student delegate program with IRENA that I really noticed that it was not something that was just interesting, but it was definitely something that I could use my voice to advocate for greater change. And because of IRENA's opportunity, I was actually part of their inaugural Youth Forum, which is now an annual event that happens every year. And from there, I've actually met some of the people that now I network and I talk on a day-to-day basis. And these have been, relationships that have kept going through 3 years now. And I think that's when we talk about young people, it's not just one young person stepping up and talking about climate change, but really about forming those bonds between us that really do make that change, and that very powerful voice, and talking about the importance of acting, of pushing for renewable energy use, for greater climate actions. And what started as, just being a participant as a forum in 17 really did shift as to now being a Master Sustainability Leader, having been to COP27 as a UAE official youth delegate. Now, as part of NYU, I'm part of the executive leadership team of the Student Energy Summit, which is going to be one of the largest youth-led climate events of renewable energy on the sidelights of COP28. So I think what I owe kind of the privilege that I've had is really because of the people that I've had around me, whether that was organizations such as IRENA and Masdar that have been giving me the opportunities, but it's actually the people within those organizations and the young people that have really motivated and encouraged me every step of the way. And when we're talking about how can we empower young people and how can we ensure that it's not my experience that's coming through, I think it's really about building those networks and getting people to work together and to act together, and giving them not only the education to make that happen, but also the opportunities, which are the most important to do so.
Thank you. Let's welcome Anna Hudson, Head of Sustainability at Saudi Entertainment Ventures. Anna, if you might give us your opening thoughts and just picking up there on the comments, and particularly where you see how can sustainability related skills be integrated into the education and training programs. Quite often they are in parallel corridors. We're hearing there from Lydia how she was discovering these things outside of the classroom in separate corridors that found her attention. But how do we integrate it into the educational and training programs across different sectors?
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, just very pleased to be in this panel. And I think to speak to that, if you allow me to just make a brief introduction. I don't know that everybody knows what SEVEN is. And Saudi Entertainment Ventures is a public investment fund company. Yes. And we will create this entertainment ecosystem for Saudi Arabia. So 21 complexes in 14 different cities in Saudi. The reason why I want to introduce that, and I want to let you know that my background is of having been in Saudi Arabia for 14 years, is that I've seen the rapid change that happened in recent years. I've seen Saudi to put forward some ambitious for sustainability, and the idea of developing the pool talent that is necessary to deliver that is really something close to my heart and is close to my day-to-day work. I'm responsible for creating the sustainability framework for companies and to create the team that is going to deliver that. So I believe that everybody touched on the points of how education can contribute to that. I think that it should be, before we think about the formal education, before we think about universities and training on the job, we do need to think about incorporating the sustainability education from primary and secondary education. So this becoming part of the curriculum, it is there already, but to reinforce that as part of the curriculum, so children grow up thinking this is not a discipline, this is life, this is part of how we operate, and spark that interest in children to become sustainability professionals, just like Lydia was talking about. When you get to the next stage in terms of developing the skill sets, the kind of projects that we have here will naturally attract the best-in-class professionals from around the world and from within Saudi to do that, to develop those projects. The collaboration among those professionals internally in companies is essential so people can understand each other's work, have the interest in learning a little bit more about how the disciplines interact and how they can be innovative and creative working together. But also this element of public education, this element that Ryan was mentioning, if you have a culture of sustainability that is spread across the country, it's something that creates, each institution will look at what is my role in this and what are the synergies that I can create between my institution and this other company or this other agency, and start creating partnerships. So we have opportunities from elementary education to developing programs at university level, but also just creating this overall culture of sustainability in the country. And I'm hoping that because we're going to have complexes in so many locations, if this can become part of the visitor experience, this messaging can become part of all of the new projects, the green education potential that you have to create this culture is something that can unlock so much potential to fulfill Vision 2030.
Melda, if you could just pick up on that. I mean, this idea of skills mismatch. There's multi-surveys, and McKinsey recently estimates by 2030 up to 40% of all workers in developed OECD countries may have to change jobs and upgrade their skill sets significantly. We have a big transformation in Saudi Arabia now, and we're seeing the great arrival of women into the workplace. It doubled in the last few years. Now I think up to 35% of the workforce and growing every day. These are massive changes. How do we get that alignment with skills that companies are demanding? You are doing yourself a lot of mentoring, UN Women's Program for women entrepreneurs, bringing that alignment.
Yeah, and also we have been actually doing one more thing, that the last International Women Days and the 8th of March, we launched Serious Labs. That actually, it says one
which
thing.
labs?
Serious Labs.
Okay.
Serious means the brightest star on the sky.
Okay.
So actually it says
both serious and serious.
So yeah, we're doing something serious with Serious Labs, that we say.
Okay.
So actually the message that we want to tap into, how we can get more females in tech job hands-on, because that's actually the pain we feel and we have years and years. Technology is not static. And then the skills that we have been talking about, either climate change, either the technological or the medical, it keeps changing. So actually, according to the statistics, last year, it dropped 2% for the females representation in the tech industry. So as you said, I'm in the UN and also supporting a lot of females in the tech field as a mentor. So we said that, the Anna said, this is also very close to my heart, that how we can have actually the more females and how we can support. That's why we set it up. So what happens that, the one short on the boot camps. So before, we look into, the existing one, actually, I will give an example for the computer science, since it's my degree. Only 18% of the females, they make to, the computer engineering or software engineering degree. And it goes dropping. So they start turning to the social sciences and then the other fields.
But I think we're also blessed in this region that females are making up a greater than the global average on these STEM statistics.
Exactly. This is the highest one, as far as I know, in the region is the highest number and highest ratio that the female study science and also the engineering field. So at the end of the day, what companies want? they want to hire people. And these females, they want to land in this job. But I don't think there's a huge gap because it needs a little bit push, understanding the company's needs, understanding the people's needs and their skill set, and how we can, bridge this gap. So we said, okay, we're going to plan a program that, the link between these two parties and also the upskill that group of people to land on this job, because that cannot be work one way. We all know, we are all graduated from the school. So when we were student, we were saying, oh, okay, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning this. But 5 years later on, we said that, you know what? Actually, we don't know what it takes to go there. That's why I need to train myself outside of the university. So examples, because the technology is changing and we're talking about Vision 2030 and many things happening. So it needs a little bit push and we need a guidance, how we can be on the game on this and how we can move forward.
And on that, obviously, things changing all the time. Dr. Akel,
Exactly.
Chief Technologist, again, just to re-emphasize carbon management R&D at Saudi Aramco, given the critical nature of your work and the work of your colleagues, what are you identifying as the top skill sets needed now for you to achieve these goals? You mentioned earlier, young people coming will need to solve some big problems. What are the skill sets that you're already identifying that you need, that you didn't need maybe 5 years ago, but you're definitely going to need for the next 5 years? Data collection, carbon accounting. What do you identify?
I think data collections, carbon accounting are absolutely going to be critical, but I think I would go one step further. I think in this region, electricity is going to be very, very cheap, and it's going to be abundant, renewable energy with zero carbon footprint. And how do you utilize that electricity effectively in terms of producing fungible energy like hydrogen that could be exported to other countries where, countries like Japan and Korea and Northeast Asia or even Europe. So I think we will need chemical engineers who will design reactors that will use that electricity. So right now, what we are doing is burning hydrocarbons to produce heat, to provide that energy, to convert that reaction from, let's say, methane to hydrogen. In the future, there will be electrified reforming technology, which is going to use renewable electricity to provide that endothermic heat to break that bond from carbon and hydrogen to produce hydrogen. So the chemical engineering curriculum and the mechanical engineering curriculum it has to be, and the electrical engineering has to be taught in a way that these cheap renewable energy resources could be utilized in terms of designing of next generation process technologies. This is one critical area. Another area is, as I mentioned before, the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches to create next generation of materials that could, suck the carbon out of air, for example. So we are working currently in a direct air capture where CO2 can be captured directly from air, but we need to, based on the so much information that is available, can we sort of expedite the innovation part of or research part of that particular area and generate next generation novel material that could very effectively capture CO2 from air. And similarly, and I will mention the last area is energy storage is going to be very, very critical, and the specific courses in that area in this
energy storage as in batteries and
batteries and
electricity storage, basically.
Electricity storage, yes. So these are the three key areas that I think we will be sort of needing more expertise And I think the work that Kingdom will attract over the years will bring in a key expert. And I think our young talents has to interact with them, learn from them, and sort of become expert themselves in the future.
If we might, Anna, just sort of close off with you picking up on that, and obviously we got from Dr. Akel there specific to the technical requirements of where he sees the needs to be in terms of Aramco and the work that they're doing. But what do you think are some of the top skills, top 3 or 4 you might needed for companies and organizations to progress in their environmental sustainability commitments to get to that 2060 net zero or the vision 2030? What do you see as some of those top skills required?
No, I think that it's yes, to build on what Dr. Akel just mentioned. I think that we can also break it down into the areas of expertise that are the areas of the company that you're going to be working, because first and foremost, we will have to develop leadership potential for sustainability professionals. So you have to have a professional who will have the leadership skills to be able to get the company alignment on what is going to be the framework. Is this aligned with the company's mission? Is this aligned with the company values? Communicate this plan, effectively among the company, because sustainability is not something that's done in isolation. You have to make sure everybody has the buy-in to have a successful project. And once you have that work, you have the vision, you have the plan, you communicated that, you are inspiring the teamwork, then you do need to have the technical skills that Dr. Akel was talking about. You're going to have the sustainable design, sustainable energy and carbon management, waste management, sustainable procurement. All of those disciplines will have to be thoroughly technically developed. Finally, there will be a third set of skills that will be necessary, which is the data gathering and reporting. So once you have the plan, you deliver the plan, you have to assess how well are we performing. So gathering this data, reporting, and finally reassessing, are we still in alignment with what we plan to do? Do we have potential for improvement? And, therefore move forward with your plan in a way that is circular, and it goes back to continuous improvement in your plan. So it's the beauty of sustainability is that it's something that, and the complexity is that something that trickles down through the entire organization, from leadership to technical to data management, and from all the ages, from children to university level, to professionals to the older generation that will be using the spaces. So I just wanted to thank you. I know that I'm taking up a lot of time.
To go back to that education, I just want to wrap up giving Lydia the final word here, and just to take on that comment. And from your perspective, obviously you're sitting currently in university. Are you identifying, or do you have opportunities given your advocacy to urge current educational programs to evolve, to be better aligned with the skills of the new job market? Are you seeing that happen, or how is that being ingrained into the academic experience now?
Sure. So I think something that's really been discussed today is kind of the interdisciplinary nature of sustainability. That is not necessarily something that it's a degree and it's a career that just certain people can aspire to, but it's really something that needs to be interdisciplinary and needs to target all areas, albeit science, albeit economics or political science, which is what I study. So I think there needs to be a larger push, which I do see it being with NYU, but not just in my university, but in other universities, so that young people can, within their own degrees, explore courses that are able to tie in their academic disciplines with areas of sustainability, so that they can see within their own lives post-university what they can really do. So I think that's one aspect of what universities need to tackle with, is how can we ensure that there are courses in place that kind of equip them with those skills and those ideas. But I think what's most important is kind of what happens outside the classroom. What is being taught in the classroom in terms of sustainability skills and linking those ideas with the academic discipline. How can we take those outside of a classroom setting and really do look to empower young voices? So I think for me, and kind of just to close off, I do want to make reference to what we're hosting is the International Student Energy Summit in partnership with Student Energy. And I think that's a great example of young people from different disciplines of our team, which we have engineers and scientists and social scientists, coming together, utilizing their passion for sustainability, their skills that they've gained in their own disciplines, and really creating a summit that's going to bring people together from all around the world with international organizations and institutions to raise youth voices and talk about the importance of moving forward. And yes, we may just be university students, but within our own disciplines, we're being challenged, we're being motivated, we're being encouraged, and we do have sustainability as a passion that we want to push through. So I'm really excited for that to happen in November.
Well, that sounds like the perfect place to sort of punctuate the end of this first SDDAMA board workshop with the voice of tomorrow and the idea of passion, which is so important. Let me just close out this session by thanking our four speakers, Dr. Akhil Jamal of Saudi Aramco, Melda Kin of D14.ai, and congratulations again on being nominated at Forbes Top 10 Women in Tech in MENA. Lydia, who gave us those very eloquent final words, Lydia Sanz Lozano, Irina, youth representative, and of course, Anna Hudson, head of sustainability at Saudi Entertainment Ventures. I'm sure we'll all hopefully have a chance to enjoy some of their activities. And our host, Ryan Zahid, COO of Microsoft Arabia. Thank you for your participation in that session. And of course, it's the alignment of skills and tomorrow, the future of work and work of the future, it seems to be forever changing, and we're all challenged by that. And probably Microsoft and their recent advancement of ChatGPT has brought a lot of that to the fore, both an incredibly exciting tool and also a reminder of how we all have to be continuously evolving our knowledge and our skills as the digital economy, as the sustainability economy comes front and center. Well, it gives me pleasure to invite our host back to the virtual stage to wrap up this roundtable. Zaina Alamin, Vice President, Digital Transformation and Sustainability at Microsoft Arabia, who really is very much at the forefront of bringing all of us together, all of these institutions together in her work and in her vision and passion, as Lydia emphasized there for her own and fellow students. Zainab embodies in a very significant way. So please, Zainab, if you would close out the session with your final comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, everyone. This has been really great panel and a lot of learning. We started off by the voluntary carbon market discussion, and a lot of learning came out of that. It's interesting that a lot of companies had to start at the basics, and the panelists agreed that we need to start at the fundamentals when it comes to reporting and reporting before thinking about reducing. Measurement is very important. Partnership and collaboration between different entities, huge opportunity for all of us. And then the second panel talked about ecosystems and the importance of localization, the importance of startups, the importance of having research and innovation that is targeted to the local market to address the local challenges and creating that innovative ecosystem. And finally, the most exciting, the youth panel and youth and talent, which is always energizing that we close with. And the discussion around talent and the skill sets needs, whether it's technical skills or soft skills or the market skills. And we need to think beyond just only the data and AI and carbon capture, but also thinking about the futuristic material AI to create the next generation material to stop carbon from air, energy storage, chemical, mechanical, and electrical engineering, along with the IT disciplines. All of those are important to think about and tackle. And the importance of youth is really there in our daily life, the practice and awareness. So thank you all. It's been really great having you. And hopefully we will work again in other podcasts and in other virtual roundtables. And congratulations, Lydia, for your recognition. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Zainab. And that wraps up our inaugural Astidama board workshop as we march towards the first full Astidama board meeting in the second quarter. I'd also like to thank Dr. Abdullah Al Qadiri, Vice President for Sustainability and Environment Sector at King Abdulaziz City for Science and Technology, who was also the co-host with Zainab. I really appreciate their partnership and their vision for achieving the overall goal here on how to accelerate sustainability through Saudi Arabia in line with the Saudi Green Initiative. There's a lot happening quickly. How can the solutions, how can the knowledge progress to deliver the answers and the action that we all need to be party of? Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, and thank you, Zainab, and thank you to all our speakers for participating in this session. And I wish you all a Ramadan Kareem and enjoy your iftar with your families and friends. And we look forward to catching up soon again. Thank you.